Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Report. We're live. It's Sunday, baby. Sunday morning here. We got some chalk to go over, some pretty good fade spots. I feel like we can get a little bit different on. Yeah, glad you guys enjoyed the 505 video. I'm doing very well, so thank you for that. Today's gonna be weird though. I'm not playing today as heavy as I'd really like to. I'm gonna be underweight in a lot of different games, but I'm just kind of checking out some different chalk spots I think we can get different on. And we'll be out of here because I got some lineups to go over myself. So we won't be on very long today, maybe half hour to 45 minutes, but somewhere in there will be around about where we want to be. So let me go ahead and share my screen to you guys so you can see this. All right. So if we're looking at running backs here, we'll start off at that spot because I think that's the most interesting this week. 30%, 31% Jordan Mason, 30% Kenneth Walker. To me, these are for like getaway spots. I'd rather just split it up this week at Rotoback since we have such a good assortment of them. Bijan, Jonathan, Taylor, McCaffrey. Even down here in your cheaper levels, you have Brees Hall at 6K, 6% ownership. Chuba's interesting at 4%. JCM's very interesting at 55. I think he's a good pivot from Jordan Mason chalk. Ramondre Stevenson in there, good pivot away from Jordan Mason chalk as well. Not a really whole lot else showing up for me. Travion Henderson, maybe, but that's just like a super punt play. He hasn't really shown much, and I'm not very confident in his role yet. Bucky Irvin's very interesting at 8% against this Jets team. We've seen what happened last week with Jimbo Cook and that call out we had last week. So I feel like, Bucky Irvin's sneaky at 8%. Just a lot of chalk here. Saquon is one of my go-tos this week as well. I think he has an awesome game. He's the one of those guys that can bury it with a 40 burger and get out of there, and you'd had to have him. So 7,800. I don't understand. He's a little bit cheaper than 400, more cheaper than McCaffrey. Just barely are above. $100 below Bijan. So that's upper 7K range. I really like Jonathan Taylor, Bijan, Saquon. Jalen Warren's fine for me at 55. He'll be live in my Aaron Rodgers stacks. What else we got? We have who else? We have wide receivers. We'll talk about JSN is questionable. I don't know if he'll play. I'd like to get a report on that. Injury status. I think he's going to play, but I don't know exactly. He's questionable, so he's sick. It seems like illness, expected to play. Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of like a getaway spot, 22% ownership. Crazy on JSN. CDs came down a lot at 14. I really like that play, I think. At 8K, I want to spend up in a good game environment. Another guy I really think's interesting this week is we have him there on our thumbnail, but Romeo Dobbs is very interesting to me at 2% at 48. I think you're getting awesome value there. Too cheap for Romeo Dobbs. He should be around that 53 there with a Dunze in them, but he's probably the number one on this team. Tucker Kraft's going to be hurt with a knee injury, so still nursing that, getting back early, which he might be just a decoy this week. Who else do we have? We got quarterbacks. We can go through some quarterbacks if you guys want. QBs, we got Caleb Williams pulling the most ownership, 14. Don't love it this week. I was on it last week, but he was 5,300 last week, so a little bit better play. He's went up this week, of course, 56. Awesome game environment, but if this game fails, a lot of people are going to be out a lot of money. I think it's a good leverage spot. I think an awesome chalk. Just pivoting off the game as a whole, I like the New England Steelers game a lot. I like 49ers and Cardinals in that late slot window. I like Commandos and the Raiders. Jets and Bucks are fine. Panthers and Atlanta is going to be super interesting. If you guys haven't seen yet, Romeo Dobbs is going to be – what's he going to be at? Not Romeo Dobbs, Darnell Mooney. He's cheap too this week. 1% ownership this week. So yeah, $4,500 Romeo Dobb, Darnell Mooney. I think it's a kind of weird play. Definitely getting weird enough. You know, especially away from some of that not Pittman, but um, not Michael Penix. Of course, you want Michael Penix in that slot, but Drake London's ownership, 10%. So it's a good pivot away from there. Pulling no ownership. There is Darnell Mooney, always live for that deep ball. Oh. Sorry, guys. I'm actually sick today, so it's kind of been a meh Sunday morning. Not feeling the greatest. But just wanted to come on here and talk through some players if you guys wanted. The chat is open, so go ahead and put any questions you have in the chat. Yeah, we're kind of just going through some quarterback plays, wide receiver plays for sure, running backs, ways to get different. I think that's going to be a key to this week's slate. Darnell Mooney's definitely live for me, though. I'm about to make a Darnell Mooney lineup right now. That's kind of interesting. But I like a Bryce Young on a Tator McMillian, Ted McMillian. I think that's interesting. So we got Bryce Young, Bijan, Ted McMillian, Darnell Mooney. So we're just going crazy on this Atlanta game. So shout out to you guys, the one viewer in chat. What's up? You got any questions? Go ahead and drop them in our chat there. We'll answer them right up for you. That's what this show's about. Darnell Mooney's pulling no ownership. I think he's an awesome million maker type play. I think Bryce Young is as well. I didn't mention him in my 5 under 5, but he's definitely under 5. And at 5K, could that be enough to get you out this week? 1% ownership. I think it's fun. Especially if you're thinking they're playing from behind. If you like Bijan this week, you definitely like him. So we have Bryce Young, Ted McMillian, Darnell Mooney, Bijan, Saquon. I want to throw in another. This is where it gets hard. I like Jonnu Smith this week with or without Rodgers. I think he's an excellent play. Jonnu Smith's awesome. Defense-wise, just punt. It doesn't matter. I play the Saints every weekend, it feels like, and they're always cheap. So whatever. We can live with it. I do like Jonathan Taylor this week, but Bucky Irvin specifically for this lineup gives us 5,900. Oh, that's nice. That's something nuts right there. Okay. I will say this: we did grab somebody from the Dallas side on there in that lineup. I was going to our Millie Maker. That's kind of weird lineup. I feel like. What's up, Teet? Sorry, brother. I just seen that in the chat. Hey, glad you found the show, man. Hopefully, you played a lot of the golf and Azunze plays last week. Too bad Caleb Williams didn't get us there. Are you playing cash or are you playing GPPs? If you don't mind me asking. That would help me out a lot to help determine this game, because you can play two different scenarios, right? The Colts are an awesome play. Daniel Jones is kind of sneaky again, but I feel like the wheels are getting ready to fall off of this thing. 6% ownership, so he's not even that sneaky, but at 5,400, okay, I don't hate it. JT though, 17% ownership, it could be chalk. You got to eat there, especially at 72, just the work usage alone. Okay, so single entry. Yeah, I would stay away on single entry stuff. You're not separating yourself enough, I don't think there. Like I said, I really like Rodgers. If you're wanting to go on a game stack here, I like Drake May. I like the Steelers. I like the Patriots game a lot. Drake May pulling no ownership. I was discussing earlier in chat. We had A-Rod. I like A-Rod a lot this week. Trevor Lawrence is a no for me. Bryce Young's nasty, but you don't have to get there in single entry. I don't feel like that's more of a Millie Maker GPP type of play. I like Rattler, but that's still a more tournament style play. We're talking Millie Maker stuff, 150 max stuff. Yeah, no, I don't think we pay down this week, man. Do you have any opinions on that? like paying down. I don't think it's like as crucial. Um, Also, if you want, never mind, I can't do this on this stream. I wish I could. I'm still trying to get my StreamYard to work. I cannot get it to load in with my YouTube, so I'm streaming directly off YouTube. So I would have someone joining us. But single entry, yeah, I don't like that Colts game. I don't love it. I like Jonathan Taylor, and maybe that's it. He's due for some touchdown regression, especially because you have like 1, 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks. He should have about 4 touchdowns realistically. Daniel Jones has ciphered 2 of them in that first week, and I was super pissed because I was all over Jonathan Taylor week 1. And Danny Jones steals 2 of my touchdowns. He should have had like 3 in that first game against Miami. Single entry though, a fun play for me, dude, this week is Jalen Hurts though. Very interesting. If you don't like Barkley, you kind of got like Hurts, 5% ownership. He's one of those studs that can really rip us open here. So I wouldn't advise like full on fading him in a lot of tournaments. Single entry, you probably don't really have to get there. You could go with like a Dak, kind of that safer floor, I feel like. But for tournament upside, I'll do like I said, I like Hurts. I like A-Rod, probably my favorite quarterback of the slate. Right behind him, Sam Darnold, Drake May, kind of my 1-2 there. Drake May, Sam Darnold, not like incredibly high on them. Did you have any thoughts on like receivers, T? You got anything for us, brother? There on your receivers. What are you thinking going there? If it's a JSN, I don't like it. I don't think JSN's as great as everyone thinks he is this week. Of course, I could be wrong. I am on Darnold, so you kind of got to be on him, but not necessarily. You could go with like a Kenny Walker, Darnold, and AJ Barner stack would be kind of nasty. Okay, you have a Dunze, so that's fine. I assume you're playing. Are you playing like the Spy or anything like that, or a smaller entry? I like Devontae a lot this week too. He's going to be in my player pool for sure. I'll be heavy on Devontae, somewhere around 16 or 17% probably. Are you playing like a big single entry or like a smaller single entry? What's that? Okay, big. Yeah, definitely. Then you can get weird. You're not playing the Spy, right? The $100 or $200 Spy. I'm just trying to jog through this of how I'm playing it too. I don't like a Dunze there, really. We're talking 16% ownership on a guy. Wide receiver is so volatile. Yeah, that's fine, man. I'm still like, this is my 3rd year going into DFS, so I'm still relatively new to DFS, but there's a lot to learn and it's super fun. What do you think about someone safer if you're wanting like that safer bet? I think Jacoby Myers and less ownership than Rome Odunze. He's a little more. You're going to pay for it. I just feel like you can separate yourself a little bit there. You don't have to full on fade it, but I don't love it. Just 16 seems like high for me for Dunze. I was on him last week because he was like 8%, 7%. So this week he's definitely shot up a lot. I think probably everyone's a little weak late on him. Yeah, CD. I like CD a lot. In that late game. Who were you going like quarterback wise? I assume Dak. You're running a Dak, CD, Adunze bring back. I would assume. Because if that's the case, definitely want to hop off that in a single entry. Maybe you just roll with like a Dak single and get out of that game, or you roll with like a Javonte Williams and just get out of that game, right? I feel like from what I've experienced is most of those games that wind up being traps. These high total games, they never really produce for me. I kind of like those, 44 totals this week. They have a better shot at going over, I think. Colts Jones, but I'm changing. Yeah, I would agree. I don't have much Daniel Jones this week, so I would definitely not play him in a single entry. Um, just game script dependent, price adjusted. Yeah, Rodgers is fine. It's definitely weird. Um, especially you said you're playing a big single entry, so Rodgers is awesome. Um, who else do we have that was kind of going back and forth on quarterback this week? Herbert, I don't like Herbert. Marcus Mariota is in play, but 10% is too much for me. It's too much for my liking. Dak at 8, if you wanted to go with a Dak and you can afford that since you already have, your CD, I don't hate that. What's up? You said it's so good to see. What screen variety? TV. I'm trying to think. What screen variety? I'm confused, Jerome. Yeah, I don't like Jones. So if you wanted to go with a Jonathan Taylor there, I'm okay with it. I don't hate it. Definitely the volume's there, and we're seeing him. Oh, that's easy. That's what I'm saying. That's why I like the Rodgers stack so much. It's easy to do. If Rodgers gets there, he's getting there with DK Metcalf, Jonnu Smith, and or Calvin Austin. One of the three will get you there with Rodgers. I mean, two of the three will get you there with Rodgers. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, Williams. Who's in your flex? You said CD, right? I assume you're running in your flex. T. One thing to be aware of though, at that 445, you're going to be running into some. This could be a late swap week. If CD's in your flex there, make sure you have enough for McCaffrey so you could pivot off either one. It's not going to be as crucial, but depending if you're running through your head of how ownership's laying out these first slate of games, depending what Saquon goes at, and Bijan at their percentage ownerships will kind of determine what we'll do. From the McCaffrey's, Kenneth Walker, because you have a lot of those 1 p.m. games. So you'll be able to get a good idea of who will have who there towards the end of early games. But yeah, I like Javonte Williams. I don't like Javonte Williams and CD though. They kind of, I mean, unless you just like in your scenario, you're not going to go there because you're if you're going to do that, you might as well onslaught it, right? Because you're thinking that Javonte has to get you 2 to get there, and CD gets you 2, right? Or 3. Very unlikely for 3, but if he gets you 2 there, CD gets you 2, Javonte gets you 2, that's a lot to go around in that game. So that's kind of why I wouldn't play Javonte and CD. That's just my 2 cents. You could pivot to a McCaffrey there in your flex, which is fine. Still giving you that late swap ability. If you wanted to pivot off him, go to McCaffrey. I mean, go to CD. So your flex, you always want your latest player in there, so you can have a shot to switch up some lineups if you want. You know what I mean? What else are you guys thinking at wide receiver? You playing any like big GPPs, like any Millie Maker stuff or anything like that? Teat, you as well, Jerome, and everyone else that's in the live. You guys can also answer this. I'm not singling anyone out, but that's who's live in chat. So if you guys leave us a like, that'd be awesome. I'll go ahead and boost us up here on the live chat. 6 of you in here, so good to see you guys. What do you guys think at receiver for big GPP stuff? We have any ideas? CD's probably going to be boost in ownership, I think. At 14%, he's at. Probably see him closer to 17 if I would take a guess. I think a lot of people are going to be on this game. What do you think about that, T? I think a good smart way to play this slate is to get off of that game just for leverage. A lot of people are going to be on it. A lot of people are going to be on a Dunze is why I kind of don't like a Dunze. I was on him last week, so Quentin Johnson's awesome. That's a good call out there. Yeah, he can one off for sure. If you're thinking this is a back and a forth affair, maybe Herbert really doesn't sling it a lot, but if Quentin Johnson catches you 1 in 100 at $5,400, he's awesome. He's pulling no ownership. McConkey's expensive. Keenan Allen's dust. I don't really like that play. I think that's a trap at like 15% ownership. What's he at? Yeah, 15. So Keenan's kind of dust, but Quinn Johnson, yeah, that's a good. You're thinking the right direction there, bud. I think that's a good move. He was in one of my player pools. I think he was in the 505 video. So Quentin Johnson, yeah, he's definitely live. George Pickens though, Teat. You can look there if you're wanting to spend up a little bit. He's at like 5,900. He's going to pull 3% ownership. Yeah, George Pickens 3% at 59. He's fun to play in your GPP stuff. What do you think about Pickens? He's due. Pickens is definitely due this week. He's seen like, I don't know, like 560 plus yard pass interference calls. So they want to strike him deep, and I think this could be a week he hits. You know, at 5,900, you don't need a crazy amount, but if you get that 100 and a touchdown, that's huge. Out of a $5,900 guy, that's a guy who can do it. Darnell Mooney, I was mentioning earlier too, is very, very appealing. The Moon Man Mooney. Where's he at? He's at 4,500. Cedric Tillman, though. Yeah, Darnell Mooney's at 1% ownership at 45. He's a boomer bust against this Carolina team, who's not very good on D. They don't really pressure the quarterback a whole lot. They're not creating a lot of front seven pressure. Unless you think it's more of a Bijan type of game and you got Bijan in that lineup, then I probably wouldn't roll with a Mooney, but you can play them both. And you don't really need Penix. Penix, in my opinion, is a little higher than I like him at this week. What's he pulling at? Penix. Yeah, Michael Penix is pulling 2.5% ownership at $5,600. So he's a little steep for my liking. I think you get better value at A-Rod, Bryce Young, Spencer Rattler, Tyrod. Even Tyrod's a better play in my opinion than Penix. Both are pretty good game environments though. That Bucks game always can shoot out with a Baker. Somebody mentioned that in one of our videos. But he's 6,600 at 2% ownership. It's interesting. But 66, like I just feel like you spend $200 more and you go up to Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean? Kind of one of those weeks too. Jalen Hurts can absolutely dust everybody on the slate and leave us all high and dry because everyone played Carson Wentz and Marcus Mariota, and you didn't need either or. So, what do you think about like a Jonnu Smith Teat? I like Jonnu. They're at tight ends. I like Hunter Henry, of course, every week. Hunter Henry's going to be there for me. He's always cheap, always produces. Kyle Pitts is awesome too at 3,900, 4% ownership. Brock Bowers pulling 9% now. He's went up a bit. Trey McBride though, 19% ownership on Trey McBride is crazy, bro. I don't want to get there on Trey McBride. Just no touchdown equity with that guy. He doesn't catch touchdowns. If you just took him on like a single anytime touchdown bet, I wouldn't hate it. But just to kind of pad you up a little bit there, just in case he goes nuclear. But I don't think he does. Jerome, what did you mean by screen variety? I'm confused. If you're still in the chat, I would like to know. Yo, Tyler, are you in the chat as well? So shout out Tyler, one of my friends. He's big into fantasy this year, so shout out to him. What do you got, bro? I know you got some questions. Yeah. This week's gonna be weird in tight ends, man. Jonnu Smith's nasty, right? He's pulling no ownership. He fits our Rodgers stacks. That's why I like him, bro. 2% ownership. Like Jonnu could be that guy. I was thinking about this. Arthur Smith was Jonnu's coach in Atlanta, and that's when they used the heck out of him. More as like a receiver, not so much a tight end. Like I think they run a lot of two tight end sets with Farmouth. Farmouth's not there anymore. It seems like it's a Jonnu type of tight end room. So yeah, what do you think about Trey McBride though? You think that's? I think that's chalk. I think 19% Trey McBride's nuts. Of course, he gets like 10 grabs a game, but that's it. He has to hit the 100-yard to be viable. Patriots receiver, oh bro, if we go there, like I'm running Drake May single stacks. I'm not even one. Like if you wanted to go Stephon Diggs, I can't hate you for it. Like, but that's it. Who else do you go with? I'd rather play 2% Stephon Diggs. I'd rather play Ramondre on the Pats side. 1%, $5,300. I'd like to play Ramondre before I would him. Oh, you like Trey McBride this week, huh? Okay. Hey, man, he's definitely a tight end that can do it. If someone's gonna, break that 23, 24 point tight end performance, yeah, no booty. Yeah, nah, I don't like it either. Just it's nasty there in New England and that wide receiver. I mean, it's basically like spread the ball around and get the ball to Hunter Henry and our backs. Like that's what I feel like they try to do a lot. I don't think they utilize their receivers quite enough, and rightfully so. They're not very good. Um, yeah, Trey McBride's interesting though at 19%. I definitely probably wouldn't play him in your single entry. I think he goes over owned there. In GPPs he's okay, I guess, but single entry I get leverage elsewhere. John is just so price adjusted nice at 34, 36. What was he at? Jonu's at what, 36? Yeah, 36. So Jonu's fine for me, 3,600. I like to live in that range. Brenton Strange, no. Shout out to everyone that hates the Jaguars, and I'm one of them. I don't play any Trevor Lawrence or Brenton Strange, and it might kill me. But I just fade at what everybody says about those bums. I think you're going to see it blow up here. I mean, last week he was ready to fist fight Liam Cohen on the sideline, so who knows what this week will entail for Trevor Lawrence. The saga continues, I guess. I'm not really getting a lot from that game, but it could be a sneaky spot. But I just don't like any pieces. You know what I mean? Nico, okay. Like Nico's like the only spot I think you could really buy yourself getting into. $7,300 at 8% ownership. I'd just spin down and go to a DK to be honest, but I think DK's in a better spot than he is. Yeah, so if anybody doesn't have any more questions, we'll go ahead and get out of here. I got lineups to run, try to get those done before lock here. I got quite a few to do, so if you guys don't have any more questions, I'll bounce out. You got anything else, T? Yeah, brother, no problem, man. Hopefully you're subscribed to the channel. Always coming back to everybody that has questions. So if any of you guys want any questions or anything, perspectives from my end, I definitely can try to help you out the best I can. Yeah, bro, take it easy, man. Nice meeting you guys. We will see you guys Tuesday on a first look. So good luck everybody this weekend. Hope you guys crush it. A-Rod, Darnell Mooney, Darnell Moonman to the moon this week. Get nasty with it. Love him. Love Johnny Smith. Love A-Rod. Love DK Metcalf. Yeah, love Saquon Barkley. I'll be getting a lot of those guys this week. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for subscribing and checking out all the content. If you guys haven't seen the previous video, go ahead and watch it. It could help you out this week too, of just different ways you can get different on the slate. So that being said, we'll go ahead and hop out of here and we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Good luck this week. Peace.